Hi everyone, my name is Hawa Muhammad Farid and I'm a research officer from the University of Western Australia. Today I'm going to be presenting on a tool called the Communication Analysis Tool, which is geared towards helping human factors practitioners and researchers in any observational studies that they may be interested in doing. With me, I also have Lisette Kanse that will be presenting part of our presentation today, and Florian, who is one of the developers of this tool. So really quickly, I just wanted to run through the content of our presentation today. Lisette will present a bit of background information and she will also be introducing the communication analysis tool and some of its features. I'll then talk a little bit about one of our projects and give a real-life example of how this tool was used and how it was customized to suit our needs. I'll then talk about some benefits and recommendations for using this tool and then finish off with a summary and conclusion.
We know that human factors professionals, and most certainly also researchers in this domain, use a wide variety of methods to collect data to help further our understanding of human factors issues in work settings. Now, one of the most labor-intensive, and perhaps for that reason less frequent used methods for data collection, is that of workplace and worker observations. To put simply, watching others do their work and recording these observations in some way or form. On the one hand, observations provide you with an in-depth insight in and understanding of what the people you are observing are doing. Through observation, you can capture what is happening in natural work settings. You don't have to take people out of their normal context. Of course, you can observe people in novel contexts too. For example, when you want to observe someone under controlled laboratory conditions, or when you want to test their interactions with a new interface design, and so on. In any case, observation allows for the context to be there and to have its normal impact on what you are observing. But on the other hand, the downside of using observations for data collection is that they are time-consuming. Observers have to stay focused during the entire observation period and cannot be working on other tasks at the same time. Fortunately, there are tools that help observers with their task. After evaluating various such tools, our co-author Florian ended up developing his own app to ensure that it had all the functionality he required. This app is the Communication Analysis Tool, or CAT for short. CAT has been applied in various settings, including the medical domain and mining. It was originally used to code and record communications within teams, but as you will see in a moment, it can be programmed to help an observer capture any type of behaviors. The observation targets and categories into which the observations are coded can easily be customized by the app user. The CAT app automatically tracks the time duration of each category of observed behavior by recording a timestamp for when a category is selected and an end timestamp for when a new category is selected. CAT works both in online and offline mode, and when your observations are complete, you can download your observation to a dataset ready for analysis, for example, in an Excel or CSV format.
To give a bit of context, I'm now going to be giving an example of one of our projects in which this tool was used. This project involved a mining organization and we were called in to investigate some concerns around the productivity and well-being of their day shift supervisors. Now to do this, we split the project up into two parts. One task involved performing one-on-one interviews with these supervisors regarding their job demands and resources, what they liked about their jobs, and what tasks they typically did throughout their day. The second part of our project involved job shadowing the supervisors for their entire 12-hour day shifts. Now, during our observations, we looked at 4 key categories: interactions with others, so how often they interacted with team members, supervisors, and admin staff; interactions with systems, so how often they did paperwork or any HR stuff on their computers; transportation, so any driving that they did as part of their job, as well as a 4th category that was reserved for other activities. To help us with our observations, we customized the CAT tool so that it looked something like this. So over the next few slides, I'll be breaking down some of the different ways that we customize this tool, which will hopefully give you some ideas of how you can customize this tool to suit your needs. As you can see on the left-hand side of the slide, the different categories are represented using different colors. Now, using a tablet or a laptop, you can easily click on the relevant category, which for this example would be interactions with others, which is the red tab that you see on the left side of the screen. Once you click on that, the page will automatically scroll itself into the relevant subcategories, which you can then customize. For instance, on the right-hand side of the slide, you can actually see that we put in, who do they interact with, which in this instance, you can click on, all team members, or, one team member, or a supplier. And then following on from that, you can also see on the left-hand side of the screen that, you can also note down how was the interaction done with other people. So you can click, face-to-face, over the phone or over email. And you can also include a text box in which, if you want to make extra notes, you can. So in this instance, we put down, what was the purpose of the interaction with the other person. And the same goes on the right-hand side of the slide. You can see that we customize it differently with interactions with systems and kept it super simple with, what system did they use and what was the purpose of them using that system. Lastly, with transit mode, we again kept it super simple with how did they transport themselves to a location and back and what was the purpose of it. And the last thing I want to bring your attention to is on the right-hand side of the slide. You can see that there is a timer. So for each task that you record as an observation, a timer will automatically begin so that you have an accurate time duration for each task that you are observing, which was great for our study purposes as we wanted an accurate representation of how the supervisors were spending their time at work. And once you're done with your observations, you can actually straight away download your dataset off of the website. So basically, once you actually download the dataset, it actually looks something like this. So as you can see on the screen here, it's got the date of when the observations happen, the event start time, and the event end time, the duration of how long each task that you observed took, and the relevant categories and subcategories, and all of the information that you basically put in at the time of your observation. Now, the great thing about this tool is that it makes it super easy for you to download your data straight off without having to do any of the data input because you've already done it at the time that you collected the data at the time of observation, which means that you can basically analyze your data pretty much straight away. Now, our data output, once we analyzed it, looked something like this. Now, because we were able to get accurate timestamps, we were able to look into the supervisor's time and where it was accurately spent. So for example, on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see that with interactions with others, we were able to construct a pie chart with a breakdown of where their time was spent interacting with others and with whom. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see that we were also able to map their tasks throughout their day across the different categories and note down when their highest workload peaks were. As a result of our project, the mining organization took on our recommendations and implemented some work design changes. So notably, they hired more step-ups or second-in-command individuals to help reduce the supervisor's workload, and they reduced the number of meetings that they had to attend. Now, luckily for us, our client was super happy with our results that we got asked to do a secondary project. And because our data was so rich and so detailed, we were actually able to analyze the data in a different way to achieve those project aims without having to go into the organization to do any secondary observations. So before we conclude this presentation, I just wanted to go back and highlight some of the benefits of this tool, how it worked for us, and why we recommend it to you. So firstly, by using this tool, we were able to get accurate timings of our observations and get reliable data. Because you just have to click things, it wasn't as laborious to do. We were also able to do our data collection both online and offline, the latter being super useful if you're on a mine site with no Wi-Fi. And lastly, it's very easy for you to download your data set and analyze it straight off, making the data collection and analysis fuss-free. To summarize and conclude, I do want to stress again that observations do provide a lot of insight into a worker's tasks in their natural work settings. You can customize this tool to fit your project needs and what you are researching into. You can use it to look at individual workers or teams across various work settings mentioned before, such as medical fields and the aviation industry. Observations are very useful, and I guess the key takeaway point that I want to leave you with is that with this tool, you are going to be able to obtain rich data without compromising on convenience. Thank you. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact any one of us. Thanks so much. Stay safe and take care, everyone.